Hey folks, That Fix a Guy here. Today we're going to be fixing a cupcake holder. A friend of mine brings cupcakes into work all the time, and we've discovered this one big flaw in this awesome cupcake holder. And so I told her to hook me up with it, and we'll go ahead and give it a fix. I don't know much about this cupcake holder except that it holds 24 cupcakes. It's in the shape of a cupcake, and there's one big flaw to it. When you go to grab a cupcake, you can't grab it. There's nowhere to really grab it good. When you go to grab a cupcake, there's no way to grab it out without getting messy or without taking a knife or a fork and trying to pry it out. Or what we typically do at work is just kind of take it and get our fingers dirty. Like so, nobody wants that. You don't want that. Or you end up taking a knife and you end up having to pry it out like so to get it out. So what I proposed was I would just bring it home and I would just drill some holes in the bottom. That way, we'll be able to stick our finger up in there and pop the cupcake up and grab it. Simple fix. I'll just make a jig for it. We'll try to make a jig to do 8 holes at a time. And that way you just have to do it 3 times. Okay, so for this job, we're gonna end up using a cordless drill, a pencil, a pair of shears to cut the cardboard. We're gonna be using a piece of cardboard to make a jig. We're gonna be using a 7/8 hole saw, a little bit bigger than my finger. That way we can get the cupcakes out of the cupcake holders. We'll be using a speed square and an 1/8" drill bit to make pilot holes. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take the pencil and I'm just gonna trace this. Trace as much of this as I can on each one. Okay, so now that we've got that traced out, just gonna take a quick measurement. One of these cups. So from center to center is 2 1/4. So pretty simple. We just go 1 1/8. So we're just going to go from here to here. Let's see if that lines up with that. So there's a couple notches on the inside of the way that this works. You can see it's kind of like a spoke. So it's kind of going straight to the middle and straight to the middle. So we're just gonna see if all that lines up, and that'll make our measurement good. If that's the case, we can do it for all of them. All those lines marked up, all those lines lined up. So then we're just gonna go through and we're gonna just do that to every one. And there's that. So we've got center line there on all these, and now we just need to come down from the top of that line, 1 1/8. Okay, so surprisingly, every other one looks pretty good except for maybe the very first one that I did. Looks like it could stand to have gone over just a little bit more. Yeah. Well, I've never claimed to be good at math. That's positive. But this side, that I'm positive there's better tools to be using than this thing. That looks good though. So I think if I go this side. Okay, now that we've got this figured out, we're gonna go ahead and cut this out, and then we're gonna put pilot holes in each of the cupcake holders. Okay, so that's about all we need to be cut from that. I'm sure there's a ton of better ways to do this. If you want, please leave some comments. This is just kind of what I've figured out on the fly to make this happen. Kind of just trying to put this together real quick. Now we'll grab one of these and just make sure that it all kind of stays where it needs to. So we'll take our 1/8 inch drill bit, just kind of get these set up, just kind of hold it in place. I know that's moving a little bit, but we're just trying to get them all to where they all are pretty good held on there. Just make them straight as you go. And they all end up just kind of being straight. So good to roll. A couple of these are a little bit different because a couple of them didn't drill straight. Like I said, I'm not the greatest at a lot of these things, but we're gonna make this good because we're using the hole saw and we're gonna be cutting out a much bigger hole anyway. It's gonna work out good. Make this thing look like Swiss cheese at this point. But we'll take our 7/8 drill bit and get lined up in the right hole here. Okay, well, that's a lot of plastic out of there for sure. We'll set that aside. And then this is one thing that I didn't mention in the tools needed, is because I didn't really know I was going to need it until this point. And this is a little pencil reamer. It's used for reaming copper and plumbing. But I'm just going to take this and go right around the edge, both inside and outside. Okay, so all in all, looks pretty good. It's certainly gonna handle its business here. It's exactly what we wanted it to do, and should be good. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a break. We're gonna get these cleaned up. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get these cleaned up, and then we're gonna put some cupcakes in them, back in them, and we're gonna give it a shot. Okay, so we've got some cupcakes back in there. And now we can go ahead and give this a test. Remember, before we had to do this, and now we're able to grab like this and just be able to pop it up and grab from the wrapper. It's awesome. Mission accomplished. Was it a little more complicated than what I thought it would end up being? Yes, it totally was, but it worked out pretty well. I mean, I'm not trying to finger every one of these cupcakes. But it really does work. So we did that for every one of these, got them all cleaned up and nice and hooked up. All right, folks. Well, we've got the cupcake case carrier hooked up. Thanks to the pencil reamer, we got some nice smooth edges. You can find this at a hardware store, your local plumbing supply, online. They're used for reaming copper, but in this case, it really worked well for the plastic. This didn't quite go as planned, but it still ended up working out very well. If you like this, if you could please subscribe to our channel, click the like button. We'd be greatly appreciative of it. And we're just going to keep trying things like this. If somebody's got an idea, I'm going to go ahead and try to do it. All right. Have a good evening, folks.